everybody, welcome to today's ICT lesson review, week 5 and week 6. Today we are going to be talking about the system unit and how important the system unit is. And don't forget to like this video after you have watched and enjoyed the video, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, what are we going to be talking about? We are going to be learning about the system unit and how it works. We will learn to identify the parts of the system unit. We will also be able to differentiate between the system unit and CPU, and then we'll also be able to differentiate between the system unit, between the tower system unit and then the desktop system unit, and then we would learn about the motherboard. Now, I would also try my best to teach you how to use the tables in Microsoft Word. So I'm going to use the table in Microsoft Word to explain this to us. But before we go on this lesson, I want us to quickly attempt the quiz activity for this week. So I'm going to be helping you out with 5 questions from 10 questions prepared for this week, and then you will do the remaining for me. And please don't forget to always type in your name here, just like I have my name here, Mr. Nate. So let's start the quiz. The full meaning of ALU is arithmetic, logic, union, no, united, no, unity, no, unit. So the right answer is unit. So let's just look at the last question and then we call it up. The computer part used for playing games is called the microphone, no. The keyboard, you can use the keyboard. The light pen, no. The joystick, yes. The joystick is the major part of computer used for playing games. And that brings us to the end of our quizzes for today. There are other questions, but I'd like you to do that on your own. So let me quickly move to my slide for today's class. Now, the system unit is the computer part that controls everything that happens in the computer system. All other computer parts are connected to the system unit. The system unit has all the small components. The system unit has a small component called the CPU. So don't forget, the system unit is the most important part of the computer system. The system unit controls every other part of the computer. Every other part of the computer is connected to the system unit, and then the system unit has a small component called the CPU, and the full meaning of CPU is Central Processing Unit. Just like man uses his brain to think, the CPU is the brain of the computer. Just as man uses his brain to think, the CPU is the brain of the computer. And don't forget that the full meaning of CPU is Central Processing Unit. So let's quickly look at the parts of the CPU. We have the CD or DVD-ROM here. You can see it here, the CD or DVD-ROM. You can see the floppy disk drive. This is actually outdated. People don't use the floppy disk anymore. And then the power button here, where you can turn on the computer system, and the USB ports. Now, there are 2 types of the system unit. There's the tower system unit and the desktop system unit. Now let's look at the picture of the tower system unit. This is the desktop system unit here, and then this is the tower system unit here. Now the motherboard is the main circuit board of the system unit. It houses all internal parts of the computer system. For example, the hard drive, you find it on the motherboard. The RAM, the random access memory, you find it on the motherboard. The CMOS battery, you find it on the motherboard. The CPU, you find it on the motherboard. The ALU, which is the arithmetic logic unit, you find it on the motherboard. This is a picture of the motherboard. All the internal part of the system unit are found on the motherboard. Now, before we end this class, I want to quickly teach you something in Microsoft Word. I want to teach us how to create a table in Microsoft Word. So let me quickly open a new document here. So you launch your Microsoft Word document. How do you do that? You come to your start button here, you select your start button, and then you type W-O-R-D, Word. And then it will show you your Microsoft Word application. You select your Microsoft Word application, and then it will launch your Microsoft Word application. You select blank document, and then you have a document to work with. So what do we want to do? I want to teach you how to create a table in Microsoft Word. Now this is my Microsoft Word application. Like I said, I like to teach you how to create a table in Microsoft Word. Now, the first thing you need to do is to go to your insert menu here. You left click your insert menu. It's going to show you other menus here. Then you come to your table. There's a tiny arrow here. You select the tiny arrow. It will bring you different boxes, and then it will show you insert table. Click insert table. Then you specify the number of rows and columns. For this particular project, I want us to use 5 columns and then 5 rows. So you can always use this button to increase your number of columns or reduce the number of columns, and then you can increase and reduce the number of rows. Then you click OK. For this place, I want to type serial number here. Serial number, and then here I want to type input devices. Don't forget, we already learned about the hardware. Output devices, and then the processing devices. Processing device. Okay, so let's title this, let's call this the hardware. The hardware. Let me increase the font size. We call it the hardware. So serial number, input device, we can say the keyboard. What is the next output device? We can say the monitor. What is the processing device? We say the system unit. Number 2, let's mention another input device. Let's say the mouse. Let's mention another output device. Let's say the printer. Let's mention another processing device. There is just one processing device, the system unit. So let's go back. Number 3, let's mention another input device. Can you tell me? Yes, the joystick. Let's mention an output device. The speakers. And then, like I told you, there's just one system processing device and the system, and it is the system unit. So the last one I want to talk about here is the light pen, and then output device, projector. So this is basically how to create a simple table in Microsoft Word. I'd like you to practice this. This will also help us to remember the hardware and the different types of the hardware. I believe that you have learned a lot from this lesson. Don't forget that the system unit is the most important part of the computer. Every other part is connected to the system unit, and then the system unit has the brain of the computer that is known as the CPU, which is the central processing unit, and the system unit also has a board called the motherboard, where you can find every other internal part of the computer, like the CMOS battery, like the ALU, arithmetic logic unit, like the hard drive, and so many other computer components and accessories. I hope you learned a lot from this lesson. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. See you next week. Bye for now. Bye.